Hey, what's going on, everybody? Thank you all for joining me at this time. My name is Shavi Zane, and I'm coming on to bring a message for the chosen. If you find this resonates with you in any way, please be sure to like, subscribe, leave a comment below, and let us know how it resonates with your circumstance. So, chosen, I was called to come forward and bring this message for you all because, you know, everybody is not ready for the amount of strength, perseverance, faith, and confidence that it takes when it comes to spiritual warfare. And I say this because, of course, on my platform, many of you out there are natural spiritual warriors. You don't fear going up against beast in the spiritual realm. You understand that this thing is more spiritual than it is physical when it comes to the energies that wants to block you from getting your inheritance, or the energies that trying to create stumbling blocks. This is a spiritual battle before it is physical. And what I find sometimes in reading the comments below certain messages, especially when I call in the spiritual warriors to do declarations, two or more coming together to do spiritual rituals and declarations to destroy the powers that were and the demons and entities and witches that they gather. Some people will make comments saying, hey, burning and releasing is wickedness, or lighting candles is wickedness. And, you're turning people into witches and warlocks, and that's dabbling in witchcraft and yada, 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 right? They'll say, the spiritual battle is not our battle, right? It's not something that we're supposed to be fighting. But I would have to beg to differ and kind of help to guide those of you who are on the fence about it to see it from a higher perspective. In the 3D, as a physical being, you realize that if there was anyone, I don't care if it was 1, 10, or 1,000 people who tried to bring harm to yourself or your loved ones, you would be ready for war, right? I don't care if it was people, if it was lions, tigers, and bears. Oh my, it doesn't matter. If they came after you or your loved ones, you're going to be ready with all types of tools, whatever you can pick up and throw. Okay. If it's a folding chair, if it's an all out missile, if it's a bow and arrow, if it's a whole boulder, if it's a car, whatever you need to use in order to protect yourself and your loved ones, you're going to fight now and ask questions later, right? That's a natural response when it comes to protecting yourself and your loved ones. And no part of you would say, well, is this in the will of the Most High for me to fight back against someone who is in the process of trying to unalive myself or my loved ones? You wouldn't even ask a question. If in the middle of battle, okay, I'm not talking about something that's already taken place and, you wanting to go back and retaliate. No, I'm talking about in the midst of a life-threatening circumstance. Your survival mode kicks in, and that natural instinct to protect your life and the life of your loved ones kicks in, and you will use whatever is necessary to protect you and yours, right? That adrenaline rush kicks in, and now you're stronger than a doggone ox. But for whatever reason, and I know what the reason is, a lot of people don't realize that you are more spiritual than you are a fleshly being. You are more of a spiritual being than you are a fleshly being. Why? Because the spirit lives on forever. You cannot kill energy. Energy gets transferred or transmuted, but it cannot be destroyed. And so the spiritual aspect of who you are is pure energy. Okay? Even the physical nature of who you are is pure energy. But a lot of people are not able to accept the fact that they're not just a physical being, right? A lot of people just say, okay, well, yeah, if there's harm that's being caused to the flesh that could create a premature death to myself or my family, in that moment, yes, I'm going to fight back. In that moment, yes, I know that the Most High, gives me the free will to protect myself and my loved ones. Most of you are not going to sit on your hands and say, even though you're trying to take me out of my children out, I'm not going to fight back because the Most High doesn't permit me to operate in that manner. You know automatically the Most High, you're going to be calling on the Most High to help you to get stronger in that moment so that you can defend, so that you can destroy the opposition. But in the spiritual realm, a lot of people forget that you're more of a spirit than you are a physical vessel. And so when you have spiritual warfare, a lot of people just passively allow this stuff to take place in their life. You got people out here, spell work that's been happening to you and your lineage for generations. That's what generational curses are. It's a curse. A curse is an incantation. An incantation is spell work. It's an outright ritual that will be done over yourself and your lineage. And not only do you have these generational curses that goes for many, generations back, but then you also have modern day witches and warlocks who are doing spell work up against you. And there are people who will sit on their hands and say, no, you're not supposed to do anything about that. Of course not. That's wickedness. But it's not wickedness when they coming up against your physical vessel, though, when you fight back. But for them, in their minds, it's wickedness when you fight back on a spiritual level. And I would really like for those of you who are on the fence about that to think about that from a higher perspective. The Most High did not make you more of a spiritual being than a physical being on accident. You have the authority and the power in the spiritual realm to slay any beast, to make any low vibrational demon or entity stand down in your presence. You have the authority to do that, but a lot of people are afraid of that authority. They're afraid because they feel that if they stand up to something that seems to be so powerful, right? Because if it's spiritual and you don't have a connection to the spiritual nature of who you are, then you automatically think that spirit has more power than your fleshly body. Because you're forgetting that you're spirit, a spiritual being having a human experience. And so you'll bow down in fear. Run off into the corner as soon as you see something that don't look right or don't feel right, rather than going into spiritual warrior mode and declaring and decreeing that thing stands down. When you understand who you are as a spiritual being having a human experience, you fight that much harder in the spiritual realm to establish boundaries and to establish your position. And this is not about you saying, well, I stand above the Most High. This is you saying the Most High stands with me. The Most High gives me the power, the strength, and the authority to establish myself so that these low vibrational demons and beings understand that I am a child of the Most High. You don't never sit on your hands and allow not a human vessel or a spiritual one to completely trample all over you and destroy you and to have you bowing down in fear. You don't do that. When you understand the power that you possess through the Most High Mother and Father. And so when people say, oh, you're over there declaring and decreeing that witches are, facing destruction and judgment, and you over there declaring and decreeing that the U.S. corporation is going to crumble, and you declaring and decreeing that, the corrupt police system is going to come crumbling down, and that they're going to receive swift judgment. And you over there declaring and decreeing that, all religious structures that's continuing to place indoctrination over ourselves and our children, it gets exposed and destroyed. Oh, that's wickedness. That's witchcraft. How foolish do you sound? It's actually wickedness that you would sit back and passively allow something like that to happen without fighting back for yourself and your loved ones. If someone attacked yourself or your family members in the 3D and you sat back and did nothing when you was especially if you're fully capable of fighting back and you still sat back and did nothing, that's straight out wickedness. Because it's a clear indicator that you don't understand the power that the Most High has given you to protect the life that has been gifted to you. And so it's a foul act to sit on your hands and not protect yourself, whether it's in the spiritual realm or in the physical realm. You have the authority to protect yourself in both, and to establish judgment in both, and to slay beast in both. Okay? You have more authority to do it in the spiritual realm than you do here in the physical. Why? Because here in the physical, if you have a circumstance where you're standing there and you're watching a police, brutality situation, and it's taking place towards one of your brothers or sisters, a lot of times being passive is something that a lot of people end up, not that you have to do it, you have the free will to fight back, but the way that ends is never good. You see what I'm saying? But when you fight back spiritually, against your enemy, things get shaken up in a way that people could never imagine. Their missiles, their bombs, their nuclear weapons, their, batons, or whatever it is that they have that they're coming at you with holds no power over the amount of power and authority that you possess in a spiritual realm when you are calling on judgment from a spiritual perspective. Because that shows true faith. It shows the ultimate faith. It shows that you know that the Most High has granted you the power to bring down any and all that is unjust or that lacks integrity or that is of wickedness, especially when it's coming against you and your loved ones. And so it's very important that you use your discernment when it comes to the fears that other people try to project off onto, others. People won't stand up for themselves out of fear. It's not because they know that, doing rituals or doing declarations against evil, wickedness is wicked. That doesn't even make sense. You can't fight wickedness with wickedness. It doesn't make sense. And it's the same thing for those same people who say things like that. They usually reference scripture and they'll say, but you need Jesus. But the same Jesus that they'll tell you that you need also tells you, just like they said that he was practicing witchcraft, right? By healing people particular ways and, doing the things that the miracles, that was being performed. They said that he practiced witchcraft, and his response would be, well, what sense does it make? If I'm conjuring up a demon in order to, kill off demons, isn't that contradicting? Why would one demon or one low vibrational entity want to kill another low vibrational entity? They on the same team. So people have been misinformed, and a lot of people they will project their fears off onto those of you who are the true spiritual warriors out there to try to deter you from really taking your power back, because really they're being used as a pawn for the opposition. You gather enough people who have been conditioned and trained to believe things in a particular manner, and they come together and say, oh, you're practicing witchcraft, you're wicked over there for doing this and that and the third. If you get enough people together, they might be able to turn a few chosen seed back down that wide path of religion and hypocrisy. But the fact of the matter is, the true chosen seed are not being deterred away from their assignment as spiritual warriors. The true chosen seed is going to take a whole lot more than a couple of scriptures and a couple of, words of judgment for them to say, oh, I'm putting down my sword. See, the chosen seed carry the sword of righteousness. We have a divine protection where we've been granted the authority to fight spiritual warfare and to call judgment and to be the judge and jury, okay? And to establish that every beast sit down and to call judgment upon the powers that were. We've been granted that authority. Matter of fact, not only were we granted the authority, but it was placed in our DNA. We was created to exact that authority. We was created to carry out that position, that assignment specifically. And so this is why a lot of these people don't understand. Well, I've been Bible thumping all this time. I've been telling this person they're going to go to hell. I've been telling this person that if they light that candle, if they do that declaration, if they take that salt bath, if they wear that crystal, if they, use that mantra, if they listen to that frequency, that they're going to go to hell, and they still doing it. Well, guess what? That's because your fear is no longer my fear. Your fear is your fear alone. And you will have to live with that, because in that energy of fear, that same person is likely living a life of hell because they are passively existing. And when you are passively existing, you are giving the authority up to every other being, whether human or otherwise, to take over your life and to dictate what direction it goes in. And when you have low vibrational beings that's over you, that feel like they have more power than you best believe they're gonna keep you stuck and trampled down, because that energy of fear is what feeds them, and it's what keeps them alive. It's what keeps the beast of Babylon alive. Your energy of fear and passivity. So stay in your power, chosen. And when people come to you and say that, hey, you ain't got no business establishing judgment over XYZ and calling on judgment, send them this message. I hope this all brought you some clarity. I love you all. Leave a comment below, like and subscribe, and I'll talk to y'all next time.